there, my name is Oddimus Prime, and I am joined today by my illustrious co-host, Primetime Moff. And whether you are watching us or indeed listening to us, we welcome you to our weekly show, Transformers 1984 to 2024, 40 years of rolling out. A show that in the year of the brand's 40th anniversary, we look back and delve into the vast history of the Transformers. If you're new to the show, we will be covering each year of the franchise in its own weekly episode with special episodes throughout the year. So please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to ensure you do not miss anything on this incredible journey. And I did that in one take. Hey, Moff, how are you today?
I am very well, very well. I'm glad to be back to a kind of normal episode recording after our very eventful time at TFUK Con.
Yeah, no, it is good to be back. We were doing really, really well and staying a few weeks ahead of ourselves for ages. And then we got to the week before TFUK Con, recorded one episode, and then we've just so not saying that a Bob Budiansky interview was filler, but
I know, but it was listen, it was a good opportunity. We're always wanting to put that video up, and I think it was a good opportunity to use it. TFUK Con was amazing. We've done our own little videos last week talking about it, but I have to say that it was an incredible experience. A great privilege for myself to be up on stage, and I'll give you your credit. I couldn't think of a better person to be supporting me. I know that when I ask something to done, you just get it done. We challenges try to get some of the recordings up from like Ben and Andy and stuff, and you just took it in your stride and made it happen. So, and your opening video for the day was absolutely fantastic. I actually, for those that didn't see it, we will get a version of it up. But for those that didn't see it, I did say to Simon afterwards, Simon, where did you steal that from? Not that I didn't believe you could do something so clever, but it was absolutely fantastic. So a massive well done to you. And thank you to everybody that came along to the event. It was lovely to see, and there was people actually coming up and talking about the show, which was a lovely gesture. So thank you very much. But yes, nice to be back on the track. We were talking in the build up to this that looking at these years, and I said this to Chris McFeely, looking in detail at years where I maybe wasn't fully in the franchise. I know you feel the same. It's really enjoyable because it makes me, well, I was going to say it makes me want to get new toys, but it makes me want to appreciate new toys. Toys that without this show, there's things that I wouldn't be aware of, and there's toys that I wouldn't want to experience. And I can't wait to TFN, where it'll be all in Transformers, buying stuff, and you and I will have a good laugh going around looking at the stalls and seeing 100%. Things that we've only talked about and seen pictures of. So, no, I'm glad to be back, and I'm looking forward to chatting about 1994.
Yes, I mean, I've got a couple of other little quick things to say. This show has caused me to purchase things as well, as I said before. Earlier today, I purchased 2 Action Masters off of Paul from Transformers The Show, which I had no intention of doing, and I have thoroughly blamed Moff for that publicly on Facebook as well. So I'm looking forward to getting the 2 that I bought, and I can't even remember which ones they were. Devastator and another one. I'll show them off at some point.
Can't remember, but I remember some pictures.
Quick piece of housekeeping before we move too far on. We had a fantastic and very helpful comment from a guy who's commented a few times on our videos, and I foolishly did not get his name to hand, but he's a guy. I assume he's a guy. That's very bad of me to assume he's a guy.
A person.
They are a person. They. Well, yeah. Anyway, they pointed out something that we've neglected slightly, which is that since we started putting this up as a podcast, because it had been suggested to us by various people, we haven't been showing any visuals during our videos. So the first few videos, I put up pictures of the catalogs and whatnot, but I haven't been doing that since. But because we're talking about lots of bots that people haven't necessarily experienced, I'm going to try and get pictures up of most of the ones we talk about during the video. But just as an aside, which myself and Moff spoke about a little bit beforehand. If you go to transformerland.com, you can actually look up the pictures of most of these bots and have them on your screen as we go along. Especially if you're listening to this, it's good to have some pictures of the things. Anyway, so that is housekeeping.
Can I quickly say my wee bit on Transformer Land? If you
Oh
don't
yes.
use it, we use it every week, and it's great because you can go in and if you go to the guides and go to all toys, you see other toys, but you can actually just go to the year. So when you're on Transformers, you can go year by year. So it's fantastic accompaniment to this show to watch, to read through that, and the other source we use is TF Wiki. We used that, we said that at the beginning, but it's nice to just refer back to them at points. Fantastic resources to look through it. And the joy, one of the things we were talking about was Transformer Land. If you click on a toy, it also shows you the alternate paint jobs of it. So we'll talk about one specific that I said I really liked later on, but that's a great resource that you can go in and click and see that and go, what other versions is. And I have learned through doing that there's toys again that are on my list that are repaints of toys I love that I didn't know about. So yes.
Yes. So again, yeah, TF Wiki and Transformerland, great resources if you're not already using them. Now, sort of connected to our previous week's videos, we've been talking a lot about TFUKCon for many reasons, most of which that we love it, and also we're involved in it. But we're now at 1994, and one very significant thing about 1994 is it's the first ever BotCon. So the first ever official. Was it official then? I assume it was official then.
No, I don't think it
Was
was.
it not
I
official?
think it only became official later on. I think.
I
Could be wrong.
I actually don't know. But anyway, it was it had Hasbro employees attended it, but I don't think it was endorsed specifically by
Yeah, that was
Hasbro.
my belief.
Yeah. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure people can tell us in the comments because we're often wrong, and that's fine. So yeah, it was the first ever BotCon. What do you know about the first ever BotCon?
So some people know, anybody that listens to this will know that I love wacky colours. I love G2. There's something special about them. But some of you may also know that I love Lamborghini Countach. Lamborghini Countach is my absolute, hands down, favourite car of all time. And I love all iterations of it. My son and I do a collection of Lamborghini Countach toys, and we're looking for things from all lines, so not just Transformers. But this year had the absolute gorgeous, otherwise unreleased Generation 2 Stunticon breakdown in the most G2 of G2 colours. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I don't have the original, but I think it's the X-Transbots version, and it is
Yeah.
just as glorious. But I would absolutely love to get an original one, but I don't think I think there's only 300 of them, if I remember correctly. So I don't think they're going to be easy to pick up. But
I don't think.
I think that's an incredible thing to have had something like that at a panel. We've obviously just done ours, and we had a convention exclusive figure that was a lot less than 300. But I think exclusive figures are just awesome in their first bit. But a G2 recolor of a Lamborghini Countach, pretty special.
Yes, interestingly, he was the first part of the Stunticons, and he wasn't widely released, and the others never saw wide release. Yeah. I remember seeing an employee find or something a few years ago that somebody got hold of the complete sort of proof. Words failing me today. It's not a good time to record, I suppose. But the full Stunticons, the full Menasor, that's the word I was trying to go for. And it was bonkers colours and fantastic. But yes, Moff and I both love bonkers coloured things. So we do love the G2s. So yeah, the convention itself, it had lots of fun things. It had a Hasbro presentation that showed off basically the next year's worth of toys, which is the first time there's been that sort of thing at a Transformers convention before. So that was must have been fantastic to have been there. It was sort of like, I don't know, like a mini Comic Con, I suppose, showing off the next year's releases.
Yeah.
And they also had a presentation of some of the toys that hadn't made it over to the US. So the Japanese toys, I think, mainly was what they showed off there. So that must have been fascinating. I've been to sort of similar things at TF Nation in the past, and seen the Brave line that was shown off a few years ago, which I didn't really know anything about. It's not technically Transformers, but almost.
Mm.
Yeah. Anything else about BotCon before we move on?
No. I just it's an interesting period where the fandom really had to just start looking after itself to an extent. You know, in the UK, fanzines became a huge bit. We had unofficial conventions start to come around, like Transmaster stuff, and obviously, you know, we're a big part of that community gatherings with TFUK Con. So I think it's interesting to think that actually, you know, we're at the 30th anniversary of community gatherings. You know, when you think it like
Yeah.
that, so Transformers is 40 years this year, but this is the 30th anniversary of kind of bigger scale gatherings, because you'll have people get together before that. But I think it's really cool. And you know, if you go to TF Wiki, you can go and see there's a list of the official conventions. There's also a list of unofficial conventions with a certain Birmingham convention in there as well. But I do love it. Like, you know, conventions are such an important part, very much so now, of my life. And I remember getting the Rhino DVDs of the G1 series, and it had snippets of BotCon, and BotCon has always been there as a goal. When I joined Primetime Toys, I told Greg that's my goal, was to use Primetime Toys at some point to get me to BotCon. And I had a conversation with Sam from Sam Formers about how do we make that happen and when can we make it happen. So at some point, I'd love to go to BotCon. I know it's maybe not the same as it was back in the 90s. I think there was something special about it back then, but I still think it'd be a great experience to go to. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
great year to see that kind of kick off.
Honestly, can't recommend going to a convention for the be it Transformers or whatever your big fandom is. There's such a fantastic experience. Lots of different people that you'll meet that are into the same things as you, and loads of guests and dealer rooms bespoke to your favorite hobby. It's just amazing. Always recommend anybody to go to one, especially TFUK Con. Okay, let's move on. So comics. Where are we with comics?
My favorite. The G2 mini series, the Marvel US, is, I think, don't know if it's my all-time favorite, but it's certainly one of my top 3 comic runs. I absolutely love them. I will tell you another TFUK Con story. So last year at TFUK Con, so I picked these comics up in the late 90s from Forbidden Planet Glasgow. I remember picking up the first one when I went on a school visit when I was still in school to go to check out universities. And I went out for Forbidden Planet. I picked up the first issue. It blew me away. That cover that is behind me, which I blew up and got Simon for me to print, sign for me at the TFUK Con this year. So I had them all, and at some point they have went missing. So I made it my goal at TFUK Cons with Simon there. I thought I'm going to use these as an opportunity to pick them up. So first year I picked up a couple of new copies. Last year I was like, I'm going to get them all. And he told me he was bringing one of everything last year. I thought, I'm going to get them. And I said, I'll get you after the interview. And I went to go up, and my good friend Russ from Toys R Us went up ahead of me. And what did Russ buy? The complete set of G2 comics. And then I couldn't buy a complete set. So I think I bought 2 at that point. And Simon's like, don't worry, I'll make sure I'm sure I've got enough at home. I can bring a full set for next year. But he didn't have a full set. He didn't have enough. So he brought me 4 that I was missing. And then thankfully, very quickly after the convention, I made the decision I was just going to go on Facebook and try and get them, and I managed to pick up the other one. So I now
Nice.
have a complete set, and I've got the trade paperback from Titan Books from the 90s, but it's nice to have the individual comics, and I am looking forward to taking those last four ones and getting them signed by Simon Furman. But I love them. I love the artwork. That cover from G2 issue 1 was beautiful, but the covers are just so mad. Like, it felt, I'm early teens, going to university, and it felt like the comics was. I know it says it's not your father's what I bought, and listen, my father was not into Transformers. It was never good with my father, but it certainly was not. It wasn't your childhood Transformers. It felt more grown up, more adult. Although I don't think toys really felt like that. And controversy, I think the toys feel more kiddish than they've ever done with all the gimmicks. But that comic was just fantastic, and really kept me going, and has been the bit that I've always loved about G2 is the juxtaposition of the comic being so grown up feeling, so teenage reading feeling, rather than being a kid reading like the earlier comics in it. I know they were certainly not kids comics, but G2 just felt like something different. But that brings us then onto the. Oh, I also didn't realise until recently that there was a Generation 2 annual. I'd only ever seen listings for all the original annuals, and I saw a G2 annual. This hurts me. I saw a G2 annual for the first time in person at the Toy Fair in April. I asked where the guy was, and he's like, he'll be back in a couple of minutes. He's away to get a bit of breakfast. And I was like, right, okay, I'll come back. And it was gone by the time I went back. And I should have just said, can you put it aside for me? My foolish fault. But that's another one on my list to get.
One of the things that really sticks in my mind about the G2 comic is Sideswipe with his black deco, red face, and the
Beautiful.
the brilliant cheese-eating grin when he's bedecked with various ridiculously sized weapons, which they did the G2 Sideswipe Masterpiece figure was styled after that.
That bad boy.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's absolutely awesome. It's just something.
What's not to love about a black Lamborghini Countach? Like, gorgeous.
Especially with some nice fluorescent green stickers all over it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, let's carry on with the theme of toys then, and move on to toys. Actually, was there anything else in? Is there some books and stuff? Nothing particularly exciting.
Yeah, nothing.
An activity book. I don't think we'll go with that. So, toys. Now, this is another year that I am not massively becoming a bit of a theme here of years that we're not massively familiar with the toy line. I remember seeing them. I've subsequently held and played with quite a few of them, but not by any means all of them. Any that stick in your mind from this series?
Oh, yes. This is I've talked about. I talked last week about getting G2 Sideswipe in a kind of e-haul from a cash and carry that had bought out another cash and carry, and it was G2 stuff that was in it. So I got G2 Sideswipe, but I also got G2 Fireflight, G2 Air Raid, G2 Silverbolt. I picked up the 4 of the laser rods, incredible toys, and then I picked up, which I don't remember this, but you corrected me today. I picked up Sure Shot, which I did. I don't remember that being Sure Shot. Like, I genuinely, I don't imagine I probably opened it. I looked at it too much, but yes. So you want to explain that one for our listeners?
We can go for that now. So in the US, they had the Hero subline, which had 2 figures in it, both of which had sort of air launch foam missiles, because we're now in the era where missiles that launch, unless they're gigantic, are bad. So these nice little foam launch missiles, and the 2 figures were Optimus Prime and Megatron. And then in Europe, for inexplicable reasons, exactly the same toys, although I do believe there is a a tiny difference, maybe with the stickers. Were named Sure Shot, which was Optimus Prime, and Arch Force, which was Megatron. There probably are some very good reasons why this happened. I don't know them. Um, I haven't skimmed through the stuff on TF Wiki to see if there's any explanation there. But yes, for reasons that are best known by some people, they were renamed. I suppose perhaps to save confusion of having two Optimus Primes out at the same time.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
I think America had. Did America not get that one? What is it called? What did they get them called again? The Heroes one. I'm sure they had them out with the kind of normal G2 Optimus. But anyway,
I believe so.
An Optimus Prime, but any other name is still an Optimus Prime.
It is. That's what I've got. But yes,
and that's the one that we talked about the on Transformer Land. If you click on it, so if you click on the Optimus Prime or on the Sure Shot, it'll show you down the bottom the other versions. So you'll go to you've got the Optimus Prime, you've got the Sure Shot, you've got I think it's the Japanese one, Convoy TRF-01. But what I didn't realise was in Robots in Disguise in 2003, they did a Scourge version of it, and it is gorgeous. It is really nice. A KB Toys exclusive, and one I would certainly like to own. I do like a black Optimus Prime. I like I like a Scourge figure, and that is that's a great mold, a great fun mold.
Oh, it is.
Gimmicks. We were talking about the adult versus child, but gimmicks upon gimmicks, and this year, like, how many different gimmicks is there?
Oh, there's so many.
You've got the shooting air missiles. You've got the laser rods with the gimmick, which is a cracking gimmick, where the light comes through their hand and lights up the sword. Beautiful. And the car modes of those, all kind of hot rod styles. Really, really nice.
Yes.
You've got Dreadwing and Smokescreen. Their gimmick was 73 billion missiles. You've got Rotor Force. You've then got the Aqua Speeders that shoot water, don't they? I'm sure they do shoot water. What did accelerators do? I can't remember.
Will they pull back and go?
Yeah, so they are. Yep. Yeah, I'm sure they are. And then you've got the Light Formers and Track-Ons. Shoot the wee light bits. They kind of do the cheesy gimmick. You've got... now, you then come to Sparkabots and Firecons, which take a previous release toy, which was also always cool, of a toy that sparks. You run them and they spark. And then you put them in wacky 90s shell suits. Because they look like shell suits because they're clear plastic and, teal, orange, lime green, and red. And then you've got the Stormtroopers, again, another range of water shooting.
Yeah, I think
just gimmicks upon gimmicks. Like, is there ever a more gimmick-laden year? Don't think so.
I think, and you're also forgetting that there were reissues of Combiners as well, just to
that's a good point. Yes,
further. So I think we had pretty much everything that there's ever existed, apart from, well, actually no. When I say
no
that,
there's no Target Masters, no Power Masters,
so no Pretenders, there's just so many gimmicks in Transformers. So very, 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 very quickly, you had the aerial bots, which you mentioned before, some absolutely cracking garish colors, and of course a gold plastic slingshot, which now is just crumbled everywhere for everybody who have ever bought him due to the wonderful GPS. Fireflight was almost identical to his old version, but with just different colored wings. Which is a bit, it's fine. The Combaticons, again, bonkers colors, absolutely bonkers. Swindle was bright red with purple camouflage. Brawl was identical to G2 Megatron in color terms. Blast Off was white with purple again, so much purple. And Onslaught was sort of a yellowy orange color. And then there was Constructicons in their third color iteration. We've had the green, we've had the yellow. Now let's have horrible looking orange.
orange and
It's
purple, but it's actually quite a fun color
oh no, it's
combination
good.
in my head.
It does very
But
much look like
yeah.
they've been tangoed, um, which is probably era appropriate ish. Um, yeah, the laser once again. You had Electro, who was another GPS
Yeah.
nightmare. I think finding a complete working one of him that is not a crumbled wreck is unlikely. And on the Rotoforce, my favorite one of Rotoforce was Manta Ray,
Mm,
which had a little bit of a play with at TFU
mm,
KCON.
yeah.
So cool to have a speed. I think it's one of the very few boat transformers.
Yeah. Could well be. There's not many at all. Yeah.
No, there's some that turn into boats, and you get a few more later on. But yeah, there's not a lot of boats. Interesting. Right. Anything else to say about the toys of this year, Mr. Moff?
Um, no, I think this is the point where we talked about colours, the some of the canopies, so the stormtroopers, um, the canopies, the green colorings, some of the colors on these are just absolutely crazy, and I can see why in the 90s it put a lot of people off, but it's one of those ones that I think if people go back and look at these things now, when you know, one of the things we'll talk about throughout the coming years, very much so is, at the time of things coming out, you were like, I want a new Optimus, I want it to look like this, I want it to look like that. Now that we've got such an incredible legacy, we've got one of the best representations and mainline of the vast majority of our toys. You can look back at these and go, I don't need them to be new versions of Bumblebee or Grimlock. You can just enjoy them for being fun, crazy toys. And it's certainly the way I feel about going going to a TFA, and I'm like, I want to pick up some of the stuff that I didn't experience that I wasn't interested in.
Yeah.
But you can see why somebody would look at a purple Megatron tank with a big orange plunger and go, "Oh, I don't want that. It's not Megatron." But now I want that Megatron. I've got the green G2 one. I don't have that purple tank. I want that purple tank. I want to experience that. The Optimus Prime of the same ilk is just a great fun toy. So
Mm.
no, a great year of fun, wacky, crazy Transformers, and again, such a juxtaposition against the comics and the to me the very adult feel. To these feel very kid orientated. My son picked up the what one did you say it was called? Manta Ray,
Manta Ray, yeah.
and was like, "Oh, look how cool is this!" I think these appeal to kids because that kid bit inside all of us because they're just crazy fun. But yeah, wacky. They're
Yeah.
wacky. They're crazy. Fun house. Sorry, which is a very 90s show, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sure, is that 90s?
yeah, no, that's
Feels
definitely
very.
yeah, 90s, pretty sure. Yeah, no, they're great. There's so many fun things. I could probably spend hours just talking about the colors, if nothing else. And again,
Yeah.
the Sparker Bots and Firecons, it's the lime green wings and spoilers on them, and I need that
Yes.
sizzle. That sizzle is just absolutely incredible. He looks like Mountain
Yeah.
Dew poured into a mold, and yeah, I want it.
Beautiful.
Anyway, so that is probably about all we've got to talk about for 1994. Yeah, anything else you
Yeah,
can think
yeah,
of?
a very quick one.
Oh, yeah.
Realizing that there's two toys in the same year called Sizzle,
Uh,
because one of the Sparker bots is Sizzle, and one of the later ones is Sizzle.
that is a good point. I don't know whether that is a UK
Just checking that as well
thing.
to see if it
Yes.
was the same.
Oh, yeah. No. Laser Rod US Sizzle.
Sparker bot, Sizzle, and where's Laser Rods?
Yeah, maybe it was cool. Yeah, I think it was a US name and a UK name.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there you go.
either way. There we go. Double sizzles. That's fun. Okay, so very quickly, what was your bot of the year, Mr. Moff?
So I'm going to go for sizzle, but not the sizzle that you were talking. I'm going to go for the laser rods. I say I had the laser rods, thought they were fantastic. The black hot rod styling was just, it was gorgeous. What a lovely toy that was. I wish
Yeah,
I'd still had it, but
absolutely
I
beautiful.
don't.
And
For
I'm
yourself,
going.
Simon?
Well, it's no real surprise, but I'm going to go for Optimus Prime, mostly because he's here in my hand, and also because he's just such a fun toy. It's the
Yes.
first time Prime was anything other than a flat-nosed truck, and also it's the first time Prime was a complete vehicle in one go without a separate trailer. And he launches gigantic missiles. I mean, what more could you want? He's actually pretty decently articulated as well. In fact, probably the
Mhm.
most articulated Optimus Prime at this point. He's got all of the joints move. I'll do a review of him. I'll save that for a prime time with Oddimus.
No. It's an
Um,
interesting one because I'm sure we go in next year. Just when you're saying Optimus Prime, I'm thinking, going, well, the previous year there was an Optimus Prime, the first G2 Optimus Prime,
mhm.
which was the reissue, the original, but with a black trailer. Then there's this Optimus Prime this year,
Yeah.
and then there's a new Optimus Prime next year as well.
Yes, we are
Three
reaching.
three different Optimus Prime molds in 3 years. This early on the franchise, that's
I
no
mean, we
wonder you
are.
have issues.
The one thing that we haven't actually even mentioned is that this is 10 years of the line.
Yeah,
This is the 10th
yeah.
anniversary of the
10 years
line.
anniversary,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's no wonder they had a new Optimus Prime and a Megatron for that milestone. Right. I think we're going to have to wrap things up because time is ticking away. Um,
Yes.
so thank you very, very much for watching and or listening. Hopefully we will have appeased some people with some exciting graphical imagery throughout the video. And if you're listening, sorry. You'll have to use the theatre of the mind. Um, but yes, thank you very much for watching or listening. I have been Onimus Prime.
And I've been playing time off.
Thank you for watching or listening, and we'll see you or speak to you next time. Bye.
Bye.